All right, so
Yeah,
this is the chat about everything. This is three views, nothing intended. So this is just for entertainment and information, perhaps, or educational purposes. But it's just three blokes having a chat. Um,
unbelievable. Yeah,
that's the way it is, isn't it?
yeah,
And this particular episode is about love, sex, and attachment in a broken world. So we don't like light topics too much. Well, we have some light topics. We were just talking about football, but this is a deep one, perhaps, depending on how deep you want to go. So when
yeah.
you hear the words love, sex, and attachment, what feels most alive and relevant for you guys? And I'll stop talking now for a second and pass over to one of my colleagues. Who wants to jump in?
One of your colleagues. So
Well,
in
okay. One of my
generally in
mates, one of the boys.
generally in the world, I think the idea of love is so twisted now, especially in my generation. It's love is so conditional, right? And it tells us in the Bible that love is an action, a choice. It's not this thing that could just be, felt or broken in an instant. And Jesus was the prime example of that. He gave up his life for people that are going to turn around and not believe in him and say, believe in false gods and say that he was a fraud and all this stuff. Like, so he is the perfect example of what love is in my eyes. And yeah, it's we live in a broken world, man. We really do.
Sorry to jump in, Henry, but I suppose for viewers or anybody listening, we should probably point out that we've all got kind of like we come at this from several different angles. And so we've got, a spiritual angle, a nihilistic view, one as a Christian. We'll let you work out who's who, but Henry's already, you know, um, given a verse
Oh,
or
really?
yeah, outed yourself as a reader of the bright Bible. So yeah, there we go. I just
Well,
wanted to throw that
you're
in.
welcome to rebuttal.
The rebuttal.
Yeah, if there is any.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't have a rebuttal for what you say. I want to pick up on the word that you use, conditional, and kind of question, what
Well,
is
sorry,
love?
the reason sorry,
So,
I
so
s- yeah, go on. Yeah. Sorry, can you just say in a sentence again in a sentence what you think love is? I think love is that's hard. I think I think God is love to a degree. I think love can be actions. It could be sacrifice. Um, yeah, I think it's hard to define, but I think that's the best I got right now.
It's an emotion, isn't it? I think. What do you think, Tim? Can you give me a definition of love in a sentence?
I liked Henry's definition of love is God, although I don't believe in God as Henry does, obviously. From a spiritual point of view, love is everything.
But
Um,
sorry, Tim, did you say love is an emotion?
lo
Yeah.
Yeah,
did I
okay.
say that?
No,
No,
I see.
John said that. No, okay, yeah, and
Yeah.
that is sort of the partially the point I was picking up on initially, saying that the way the world teaches us what love is, because before the
Mm.
Bible, that's what I thought love was as well, and like for me, what that's saying essentially is like it's so fragile. Like as humans, we're very volatile. I can feel something now, and in 10 seconds, something could happen, and I feel a totally different way. Like I could sit here and say I love Tim, right? But if he punches me in the face and sleeps with my girlfriend, like, is that love shattered? And in the world's version of love, it is. But we're like you can be in your car and within a few seconds be calling someone a wanker, and we're so quick to friction, and we say we're full of love and we say we love people, but it's so fragile, especially when it's based on just my feelings and my emotions.
Is that why you say it's conditional, I guess? But
Yeah, totally.
yeah, and I get it. You're not going to love it if I punch you in the face or sleep with your girlfriend, for sure. For me, I think a lot of our attachments and sex in the modern world seems quite conditional upon where people are at. But for me, love is everything, and everything is love. And I don't mean it in the terms of the emotional kind of sense of the word. I don't.
That sounds a bit fluffy to me. But love is
Of course,
everything.
it would do to you, John. You know, go on.
But what's love? It's just love is everything. I mean,
Yeah.
what is? I mean, is this love?
Yes,
Glass? Is this glass love?
it's created from love. Yeah.
I think it's been created by a machine, really. But anyway,
You're,
but
are you saying like as in creation itself, the force behind life, that is love? You're saying like everything is matter, energy to a degree, and that's love. Is that what you're saying, Tim? Just
I'm saying everything is created from the source energy that creates everything in the universe, and everything is that source energy. So yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying, John. And as a nihilist, you're going to go, "What the bloody hell are you talking about?" And it sounds like I'm talking about God, and maybe I am to a certain degree.
right, yeah, yeah. I googled it, the subject, and there's very little out there. There was a guy who comes up, and he speaks of God, and then there's another guy. He talks of living in a broken world. Um, but if you were to ask me the question, what is love? Love's an emotion. It's ephemeral, and unfortunately, there are some loves that you don't have a choice of the matter, really. Like family, you may they are your family, and you do love them. You might not necessarily like them, but you do love them. And I think being a father, my daughter, or my daughter and some of her peers in school were being bullied by one person, and I think I attacked it in a different way, in a multiple faceted way. I said the first thing is I said you've got to have some compassion for that person, and she was, what do you mean? And I said, well, look, she learned to bully invariably probably from home. So it's either a brother or a sister or parents are like that. And it's not very nice. So you've got to show a bit of love and understanding, really. It's not, because they're only reflecting on what they know. And then, of course, we won't go into the other facets of dealing with a bully, but I think love is an emotion, and when your first love as a boy, it's like an infatuation. I mean, what it is an infatuation, really. You like to call it love, and you think it's love, but you've got you're out of control with your emotion, and you get tummy flips. You can't wait to talk to that person. You're listening to that person. You can't wait to every word they say. You're hanging off it. And then there's love. Beauty. I mean, where does love and beauty differ? I mean, when you see nature, it can be really beautiful. It can be, and some would use the expression that's lovely. So it's an expression of feeling, I think, isn't it? And it comes and goes.
You know what you started with there, John? You said about the family, right? And you said that you might not like them, but you love them. Doesn't that prove it's not an emotion in a way? Because if it was just emotion based, then why do you still love these people that you don't like? Doesn't that prove it's something like beyond that?
Well, what?
Well, but I don't like if it was just emotion, how can you? I don't know. Say you've got a big fallout with your family. What is it that keeps you loving them? If it's purely emotional.
Because it could be that the topic of under scrutiny, there's disagreement with it. But you can't ignore the fact that you've had good times as well, which have been beautiful, And they've been invariably, in my case, I would say, a good portion of my upbringing was with a caring mother and father. So when when a parent is caring to a child, then the child builds an attachment, don't they, to that nice feeling. Whether that attachment is, we could call it love if you like. Um, so that's where I'm coming from.
So for me, like, and tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like love is like chemicals in the brain almost to what you're saying. Like, it and like to me that's reducing what love is massively. Obviously, we spoke about spirit and stuff on the last episode, but
Mm.
I do believe we're spiritual beings, and I do believe there's something outside of us that's stronger than just two chemicals meeting in the brain and like creating this like illusion almost. If that's what emotions and feelings are, then it's not even really real. You could take these two hormones, chemicals, and you can create love in just like artificially almost.
Yeah,
And
well, yeah, I mean, you take a psychopath; they've got no capacity for emotion, really. There may be a little bit, but a lot of the time they haven't. They know how to disguise it. They know how to um, portray um, the actions of a person that's lovable. That's how they draw in their people, because they're nice to them and they gift them and they do, and whatever that they look to help them, um, and they praise their subjects. But when they go home, they switch off. And if something better comes along, they can quite easily ditch that person and move on. A lot of CEOs and business people, they're cutthroat. They don't really. They've got psychopathic tendencies.
100%. But we live in a fallen
Not
world.
100%. I think it's about 60, 70%. But
Yeah,
But
yeah.
human state,
Well,
this is partially my point, right? Like you're using humans to show like this lack of love almost. But we are broken. We don't necessarily love in the right way. And this is sort of my starting point that
mm,
I believe our idea of love is completely twisted. Because like I
yeah,
said, we have these savages almost in business where money's the most important and these psychopaths where they have no empathy, no love for anyone, and
no,
it's yeah, like I sort of hear what Tim's saying about like the force because I don't know if you guys have seen the film Interstellar, right? But there's a scene where she's like in another universe or whatever. She's on this rocket ship and she's millions of miles away, and she's thinking about the person that she's in love with, and she's got this draw, like something inside of her that just no matter how far away he is, even if you're galaxies away, she feels so strongly, and it's like they're connected. And that to me is just so much deeper than just a chemical reaction in the brain,
yeah,
especially with the fact that we're spiritual beings in my eyes.
let me break down the word
but
emotion. Sorry, had you finished your point, Henry? Or yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, so we're talking about love, and we're kind of trying to sort of like work out what that is. And it sounds like it's different for all of us. But let me break it down to like a scientific way that you might kind of get on board with, John, with your kind of like love is an emotion. Because I certainly agree to a certain extent with you on that one, and I agree with Henry that love is everything because I do think it's a natural part or a natural state for us. But emotion is to me is energy in motion. E equals mc squared. According to Einstein, and the E in that equation is energy. So emotion is energy in motion, and I think we confuse natural energies coming through us with the things that it does to us. And yes, there's some chemical sort of like reactions involved. There's stuff like oxytocin, the love hormone that gets produced when we're in a natural state of love, like your, first girlfriend that you were describing. And I can certainly, think of some of my girlfriends who I was in a state of infatuation with, obsessed with, and just as like the smell of them, the sight of them, everything was just awesome. Don't know if you remember, should I say name names on
no,
on our estate, John, when we were growing up. I'll just say her first name just in case, I don't want to kind of name her completely, but Fiona, and she was she lived round the street from me, and oh boy, just the mere sight, smell, just being with her, it was just everything. And something chemical in this young lad was happening, young Timmy, and it was a lovely thing. But I think my
Was it love?
well, that's what I'm saying, Henry. I'm kind of like saying, is that just
No,
love,
that's
or
a
is that
hormone
just
reaction, isn't it? Really?
exactly?
Would you
Is
put your
that
life on the line for her because you fancied her and you probably got a bit erect or something?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. This was very early, so I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know whether I got a boner or not. Probably not at that age. But anyway, but what is a boner? It's energy in motion, isn't it? It's blood flow. It's things, chemical changes. But
Hormone response.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
The reason
hormone.
I asked that though, Tim, is because like all what we're saying when we're talking about love, it's almost like assuming that any of us know what love is. And
Yeah,
maybe we don't. You know, in the Bible it tells us that our love is counterfeit. And to me, that means that actually we don't really know how to love. And you said it was natural to start with, right? Which, okay, like part of me thinks, I love my mom naturally. I was born and I feel like I love her. But at the same time, if she betrayed me in some way, like I said about you slapping me and sleeping with my girlfriend or whatever, like would I love you? I don't know. Like it's hard and love isn't like that in reality, or that's what the Bible tells us anyway. That love isn't just an emotion, it's not fleeting, it can't be changed like that. Love is the love that God has for us. It's forgiving, it's everlasting, and it's unchanging. And this
wow.
is sort of my point, like that we see it as
But
this thing that can just come and go, can be made or broken. And I don't think I believe in that, you
Yeah.
know?
I
no,
did say, go on, John.
I think you've got a point. I mean, the thing is that if you have a dog,
Yeah.
you you build a special bot because I'll refer to. I don't know whether you've got animals, Henry. You
Not
told us
currently,
previously,
but I have.
but you haven't got any children, so I can't. So a father will love his child unconditionally, and I'm sure there are times. Well, there have been times you think, for crying out loud, you know, what are you doing? And then you might get angry about, and you start to question, But you're right. That love that you have for a child, and in your case, perhaps an animal like a dog, won't ever go away. But there are times when that dog, or that child, or that person will do something that you don't like, and it'll be like, okay. So that's what I'm referring to. Is like the overreaching emotion is that of one of love. You will love them, but there are times that you can disagree with that person and be angry with that person. You might not like that person. That's not to say that you don't love them anymore.
For sure.
So,
But
so
it's but that's what unconditional love is. And I think if for a person, if we're going to make it, we're going to put a child or a dog or a pet, But if you get a brand new car, Ferrari, put it on the drive, that's lovely. You love it. You look at it, and it's beautiful every day. I mean, I think we use love. Love is, I think, is the most. If you go in the dictionary, there's so many definitions of love. It's hundreds.
Mm.
It's not a one thing.
so can I
And
just propose that we're kind of talking about two separate things here? Because I did say love is natural, Henry, but what I did say was love is a natural state. And what I propose is that there's the natural state of us, which
Mm.
is love.
Right.
And then there's thoughts that we have about other people, which can either be lovely or take away that natural ability to love in the moment through whatever's happening.
Hmm.
So, um, a love of a parent is unconditional if you haven't got a psychopath as a parent.
So yeah, it's not
No,
unconditional then, is it?
no, exactly. Then it's that it may be that attachment is something that they're patterns of early intelligent responses because our first love is our caregiver, like maybe our mother, and we learn through those connections how to be safe and how to respond. So our attachments are built at an early stage as a child, reacting to the world outside, if you like. We're not reacting to the world outside, we're reacting to what's within us. So we learn how to get safety, how to feel secure, how to get good feelings, etc., from those early attachments. And then if they're fucked in early childhood, then we look for the wrong things as attachments and ways of feeling secure, safe, and loved and validated later on in life as an adult. So that's why you might develop as a narcissist or a psychopath or
A
uh,
bully.
yeah, bully or a habitual Pornhub watcher or whatever it is, or
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like you're making love to me now sound like I said, so counterfeit, as if it's like a survival mechanism or based on attachment or you know.
sorry. So that's what I was going to get to, Henry. There's two things. There's the natural state of love, which exists as us, through us.
Which is
Um,
attachment, really, isn't it?
no, not in my head. And then
Okay.
there is the other love, which is the counterfeit love that you're describing, which is a bit of a kind of way of us seeking the feeling that John's describing for his Ferrari or early girlfriend, which is more an emotional response. We're seeking to attach ourselves to that thing. And that, I agree, is counterfeit. So there's two different things in play, is what I'm saying. From my point of view, I see the love is everything, and love is, something that we seek in our human existence.
Interesting, yeah.
Bit deep.
Well, and we're going to bring it to a crescendo. How do we do what love, sex, and attachment in a broken world? I mean,
Yeah. So that
you
leads me to what I've just described. That's when I don't believe we are broken as such. I think we all are that capacity for love underneath. But we spend a lot of our time.
oh, just a
Um,
minute, just a minute. You don't think we live in a broken world?
No, I don't. I think that there are some broken systems. I don't think anyone's broken, even the people that have not developed the capacity for love. There's still the capacity for love, but they've just learned how to express that or to seek things in the wrong way. I don't necessarily see them as broken, but what I do see is that people will seek those pleasures, that validation, that safety, that comfort in things that are a bit broken, like watching porn, like having addiction, like um, relationships. I mean, I hate to see that young people are strangling each other as part of the sexual act. That's not a loving kind of act in my head. I hate to see that people are looking for a quick orgasm, like two one armed fruit machines, going for the jackpot as quickly as possible. That doesn't seem like connection to me. But there's something. If
It's an
if
endorphin
anything's
rush.
broken, I think the connection to our true selves, true love, and what we really are is a little bit fractured.
So, what about you, Henry? Do you think we live in a broken world?
Well, I think that we're inherently sinful. I think that's our nature. So
Mm.
yeah, I do think we live in a broken world.
Yeah,
100%.
I would agree with you. Even in the Bible, I mean, God was so pissed off, he tried to drown us all, didn't he? Apparently. And I mean, all the what with Noah's Ark and everything is, and the big flood was. It's not just in Christianity; it's in other spiritual texts as well. I think we're inherently broken as a species, and I do think we live well a broken world. Um, Only if the humans are on it, I think it's broken. I think if you take the humans off, I think the planet Earth would probably thrive.
Humans are awesome, though. We're only kind of lost our way a little bit because of the things that we've developed and
We're very
are seeking.
destructive, Tim. We're
Yeah.
extremely destructive. I mean, there are compassionate sides to our character, but we are extremely destructive for thousands and ever since the birth of the human. Yeah, we've been warring with each other thousands of years. It's all about sex and war.
Hmm.
It hasn't changed in thousands of years.
Yeah,
I
it's an
mean,
interesting point you make, and I struggle to argue with that. I would still say that everybody is not broken,
broken if you ask me.
essentially, but they're trying to protect their own thing, their own uh, woman-man relationship, kingdom. So therefore, they think that violence and killing off anybody that is a threat to that,
Oh no,
um,
it's not just that. Not just that. And
isn't it?
it was greed. I mean, Henry, you would know what are the seven sins. I mean, if you list the seven sins, I think that you'd be hard pushed to find a human on this planet that is not guilty of at least one.
Well, no, everyone is a sinner. Like, and the thing is, people always make out that sin is an action, but it's not. It's literally our nature. Like, sin is an inheritance. It's within us all. And Jesus was the only man that lived a perfect life without sin, and that's why he had to die. That was the sacrifice. He shed his blood, and he paid the price. And it's not the expectation for us to live a sinless life. Like you, when you say that, it makes it sound as if that's the goal, but it's an unreachable goal. Like
Yeah.
like I said, it's within us all, and fighting that is fighting our nature. It's like a apple tree turning around and saying, "I want to grow mangoes today."
Yeah.
It's against what we are, you know.
But is there any harm in trying to live in a a virtuous way? I
No, of
mean,
course, that's the goal, 100%.
and I think we first it's like anything is that acknowledging your failures, and I think we are. If you acknowledge that we are inherently destructive, and we are guilty of nearly all the seven sins, at least one of them, then that's a good starting point to say that we're not, and then we're all good. That's I think that. But the problem is that, but now we've got love and attachment, and we live. Well, so we. I don't know, Tim. Do you agree that my view is that the world is not broken. It's only the humans that are broken. Without humans, the world would be fine. So the
What's the
world.
point in the world without humans, though?
Pardon?
What's the point in the world without humans? Don't you think we're intertwined?
God,
Like,
that's so grandiose. Well, I mean, flipping heck. I think that you know the humans will be a speck of time on this planet. If I remember watching a program about the age of of Earth and the solar system, and he was walking along the beach, and he put a flag in at the start of the beach, and he was walking along, and he was telling the story of the age and how many millions of years it come. And then he put the flag down. He was at the end of the beach, and he said, "Humans' existence on the planet." And he drew a line with his finger in the sand, and he said, "That is their contribution so
Yeah.
far."
Let me put that into context for you because I've just been watching The Life of Chuck, which if you haven't seen that film yet, you should. I think currently it's my second favorite film of my all time. My first being Forrest Gump, but in The Life of Chuck, one of the school teachers describes this, and I may get this slightly wrong, but he put it into a picture of a year of the year calendar representing 13.8 billion years or whatever it is of the lifespan of planet Earth, each hour being 30,000 years or something like that. We don't even show up until the last, man doesn't show up until the last day, 31st of December of the calendar,
with
Um,
30 seconds to go.
Yeah, it's about 30 seconds to go, and 20 seconds we kind of like get a bit conscious and start, doing things. And,
So,
so
so
yes.
of that whole year, and if you can actually if you can put 30 seconds over 365 days in the year, 30 seconds is the human. I think to think that to take away the humans, we are so insignificant.
I just want to add, right, as a Christian, I think you have to look a bit mental sometimes, and I'm probably about to look a bit mental, but I'm going to go for it anyway.
Go for it, brother. We're with you.
So, like, I'll add before I make my point. It's not flesh and blood that we battle against, right? Our battle is deeper than that, and I don't know what sort of deception is going on. I believe it's deep, but I'm so sure that we're so more intertwined in the story than what you guys are making out. Like, oh, the Earth is billions of years old, and we're just a speck of a grain on the sand on the beach. I just don't believe that at all. I
But
completely
it's
reject it.
true, Henry. It's true.
No, but
No, 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 hang on.
I'm
I'm going to
talking.
have to stand up for Henry here in that that's the truth you've been told through your education and through scientific like exploration and things like that. But we don't know it's true. We
No,
do
no,
not know it's true.
that's the hypothesis. I mean, that they can
And
measure.
we don't know whether other versions of us have come and gone on planet
That's
Earth as
true.
well.
Yeah,
But,
that's
but,
true.
but modern man, as we know it, have been around in a very short time. So therefore, we're a bit irrelevant to the planet in a way. But boy, have we had an impact on it in the last 20 seconds.
Well, I don't know. I would debate it. That's rather nothing, really. I mean, we can't. We're confined to our own planet, really. We like to think that we could go to the moon or Mars, but we've not done it. We're too interested in killing each other. If we pooled our resources and stopped killing one another, perhaps we could be we could stretch further than planet Earth, but we're not. When we're so a million of miles away from it, and we're not going to be doing it anytime soon. And to be honest, just like any other species on the planet, they come and go, and I do think that these humans will go eventually. Yeah, there will be, whether it's a virus or I don't know, but to think that there's something special about us, I think is
Hmm.
I
There
think
is something special about us, and there was something special about the man who was called Jesus. I
Oh no,
disagree with
Jesus
you,
Christ was he existed. There's no doubt about it.
and
And I think as a preacher, as a philosopher, and a virtuous person, I think he ticked all the boxes.
I don't think he was the only man that has, or human being that has demonstrated how to walk with love. By the way, I think there has been others, but he certainly is one of the most famous, great, good role models for that. But I do think it is a battle of flesh in a lot of ways. I take your point, boys, about being inherently sinful, but it's that we're born into that and then we learn bad habits about that, and then we
No,
try
I
and
disagree.
seek pleasure. But I think innately we're not sinful.
No, we are innately sinful, and I'll tell
Really?
you why, right? Yeah, because you don't have to teach your child to lie. They've got their crayons and drawn all over the wall, and then you say, "Was that you?" And they go, "No."
And
And you're
hang
like,
on, that's
really?
that's
Like,
learned.
I don't think it is. I think they're doing that at 2 years old. They're
Yeah, they've learned that because they've been told, don't draw on the wall, don't eat from the apple of the tree, and then they do, and then they have to cover it up. I think it's learned, mate. I
that's the
don't.
opposite. You're telling them not to, and they've done it.
Yes, exactly. So they kind of have to hide and cover up their actions by lying. They
So
learn to do that.
Where, but how was that learned? Like at 2 years old, they're like a sponge, right? They're picking up all sorts. But you just said that you're telling them not to, and they do it. So where's the learning in doing it? Like
I
where?
don't.
They want
I,
to explore and want to experience what happens if they do the thing that they're told not to do, and then they know that they're going to be in trouble. So when they see your like 5 to 6 foot tall kind of adult face asking them, "Did you draw on the wall?" They know there's only one answer to that question to
Well, it
survive.
depends on what sort of face you pull, isn't it? Really, if you've got a big smiley face, I remember when my daughter she was used a crayon on the carpet, and yeah, you can't really go. Did you do that with a big smiley face? You know, you can't control your emotion, and very like you. What are you doing? And they're straight away. They want to please you, so they will avoid being taking the wrath of your anger.
That's
They
right.
don't want to do that, do they? So they will just lie.
That's how attachments are formed. So if we're talking about attachment in a broken world and how the world seems a bit broken to you guys, but it doesn't look broken to me. It just looks a bit fucked. I mean, yeah.
That's not learned though. The child's not learned that.
No,
They
Learn
haven't
what?
got the mental capacity to learn at that age.
What? I'm sorry, I'm
They can't
confused.
even control their bladder, never mind anything else. That's
So
why they're
you,
running around in nappies.
but they know to hide it from you. They've just learnt it in that moment. Like, I'm not going to admit to doing this because I'm at threat. It's part of the attachment that they've formed already. Because if you please your mum, you're going to get milk, comfort, hugs. If you
Yeah.
displease her, it's going to be bad.
Why? Oh no, it's not bad. It's anyway. I think we're going down a rabbit hole on this one.
But it's an important part because that's where attachments are formed in early childhood. So you come in as a baby, and like,
Yeah.
you're not telling me that baby is a liar when it's born. It can't be. It doesn't lie
Well,
when it's
yeah,
born.
I think so. I think because there are some emotions that are passed through. I mean, for example, there are people that have been to war, or they've got propensities where they're severely disturbed because of war, for example, and they've shown that the children of these people have the similar anxieties, I forget it's hereditary, hereditary illnesses, mental illnesses. You can inherently, and so if mother and father are both psychopath, well, have had difficult lives, they've shown that you can inherit that a baby will take those on as well. You inherit it.
So I
So
would argue whether it was nature or nurture, because yes, I
it's probably
agree. You can
nature.
inherit DNA, but you have to learn things from the
Yeah.
world reacting to you presenting your
So I mean,
perspective.
and humans are inherently destructive. So I mean, it's going to be passed down. It's passed down through generation to generation to generation. We're trying to condition it by saying, what you're doing there is wrong. Yeah, this is the right way to do it. But inherently, it's passed down the genes. You're born with it.
Do you know what? I'm going to
Well,
concede ground and give you guys a little bit of like benefit of the doubt on this one because I'm starting to think, oh, some children, they put pillows over their sisters' heads and try and kill them off at an early age, or they destroy things, and so maybe we have got the capacity for destruction as well as love. Maybe
but
it's a
it's
dual
not
thing.
even just the super evil ones. It's everyone on a base level. Like even if you love your wife, you still look at that young 25-year-old and think, yeah, I'd love to give her one. It's like the Bible talks so much about the battle between the flesh and the spirit. And your flesh, it wants things that aren't good for us, that are inherently wrong, Like
yeah.
it's not helpful in any way to do a lot of the things that I want to do quite often.
Wait, I'm confused, Henry, because I thought you were saying it's not just a battle of the flesh.
No, it's not. Not just, but of course there is a battle between the flesh and the
Yeah.
100%. That's another battle for sure.
Okay. All right.
So, but I don't think
So
that's all we battle. Definitely not.
So love and sex, I think, is our way of trying to seek comfort, validation, all of those sort of things. And I think if somebody's a little bit twisted or a little bit damaged or have some adverse childhood experiences, I think they may try and seek that in a way that's not really conducive or healthy as a relationship.
But how are
Um,
we going to? Okay, so I think to a certain point we agree on a lot of points, but living in a broken world. Personally, I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. It will, I think, like with nature, do a full circle, and we'll get to start again. But we're nowhere near that. I think it's going to get really bad before it gets better. I mean, the people that are inventing AI, for example, they've got no interest at all about curbing its any of its. I suppose there's aspects of it that they don't want us as general publics to use, but they're using that for nefarious purposes. Most definitely, their view is that if we're not doing it, the Chinese and the Russians will. So so we are living from that perspective. If we look at the broken world that we are living in now, and then we've got the love, sex, and attachment. I mean, some people attachment is where do we go with it? Is marriage? Marriage is is attachment. That's terrible. It's not really, the divorce rates are just getting worse and worse and worse. There's no marriage is so fleeting, and there's some people believe it's women are in for it for business. Well, men are in for actually because they see a young beautiful woman and they want to go home to that. It's nothing more than that. Where the women, they see it as an opportunity to step up in their social from the social ladder, from being sort of middle class to upper class. All the girls want to be princesses. They don't want to be sitting there going. Right now, there's a lot of women out there thinking, "What's this idea of feminism? Of us getting now we've got what we've been fighting for, and now we've got to go out and work and just slave for somebody all day for what? Where in the past we could have been a kept woman at home." I know what you're finding is that feminism is taking a bit of nobody's looking for that anymore. Traditionalist women are looking for, I want to be a kept woman at home. I want children and I want to take them to the park and do nice things. They don't want to work 7 days a week. So, I mean, that's where we're going at the moment. And I think there are aspects like the feminist movement that have really destroyed have contributed to the broken world, in my opinion. I don't think that it's been of any benefit at all, really. I can't think of any benefit. I mean, if you look at our population in the UK, the younger population, there's not enough of them to support the older folks. And why is that? I mean, they don't want babies, So and this goes to religion, is about taking contraception. Is it such a good thing to be able to have sex without any repercussions? Or just drop a pill and then you can kill your baby, or you drop a pill and you won't get pregnant. Now look where we are because of it. There's no children there. There's not enough children out there working to support the older people as they get older. And you've got people that have been on building sites for 50 years in their 60s and 70s, and they're not getting they haven't got any sort of retirement plan. So they're slaving all their life. I think it's complete. We've gone down the wrong route completely, and it was because I want equal rights. And you've got equal, but you don't see them on oil rigs. You don't see women on oil rigs doing the dirty work or on the dustbins doing anything like. It's only when it suits them. I've got real issues there. I think we've gone right down the wrong route with with this love attack. And if you don't stand up, if you're not making six figures, a lot of the girls are not interested in you. Poor guys at the moment. If you're not really, some sort of entrepreneur doing well for yourself, women are gonna. I can do better. You'll do for the time being, but I'll still won't. I won't delete my Tinder profile. I'll be looking for somebody who can. I want to be a cat woman with lots of money. I mean, the attitude about love, sex is. I mean, the thing is, a lot of women will draw men in with sex, but whether they can hold them, I don't know. You know, a lot of guys will. Yeah, that was nice, but do you want to marry her? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? Women hold the key to sex, men hold the key to relationships and marriage. So they're exactly right.
Yeah, and the thing is, men are not want to go down the relationship route now, because if you've been working all your 30, 40 years building a business, and she comes along, spreads her legs, and away you go, and she goes, so let's get married. You go, yeah. 5 years later is divorce. You have to give 50% of your business up because of her, because of hormone-induced emotion. Well, men are starting to see the light and saying, well, slow the right down, you know. I mean, prenups were quite common amongst Hollywood stars and people with lots of money. I think what you're finding now is a lot of middle class people are doing that as well, because there's a lot of sad people can't afford the divorce, you know, because if they divorce, they'll have to sell a house, and then where are they going to be? Yeah, they're going to be in a position where they're living by themselves, and it's not good. They just don't want to take that step. If they see it as a step down, but what they don't see is they're going to be much happier. They'd rather stay in that status, and having what they've become accustomed to, but not loving that person. It's a terrible state of affairs.
I think. Yeah, sorry, John. I thought you'd done.
That was a bit of a ramble there.
No, I think you're highlighting perfectly why, we are in a broken world, and almost what I said earlier about love being counterfeit, the fact that you're saying all these things are so broken. I totally agree with what you're saying. I really do, but it's not true love, is it? It's maybe attachment. It's maybe, but even my other point about how we don't always battle against flesh, like, you gotta say, where do these ideas come from? Like, do we blame women for feminism? Do we blame men for any other things you just stated, or is it pushed upon us by? I'm not even talking necessarily governments or higher powers that be. I'm talking like spiritually. Where do these ideas come from? That's because I don't look at women and think, oh yeah, they're to blame for this. I think they're victims of these ideas pushed onto us,
Yeah,
and the same way we're
to realize that now. But I think 20 years ago, I think there would be. I mean, I've not always felt this way. 20 years ago, I wouldn't have done.
It's a different world today, isn't it?
Yeah,
and you're a different man than you were then as well, because like you've lived through experiences and relationships and all that sort of stuff, and that all shapes you. I think in adult relationships, people tend to turn love and intimacy into a way of managing fear rather than meeting each other and being with each other in the way that you're describing it, as a manipulative act on both sides, men with women or women with men, or maybe in single sex intimate relationships as well. So we turn that intimacy into a way of managing fear, our survival, and stuff that we want. And that's what's a bit fucked, really, in my opinion. I think it's
a lot of men, when they realise what they can get with their money, how are they any? They just flash a bit of cash around, and all the women come running. I mean, and then of course they can live a life of Riley, and and without any commitment as well. I mean, is that good? Is that right? I mean, and then all the women are there ready to, offer themselves in the hope that he's going to choose them for marriage. It's fucked, isn't it? Really?
There's a lot of sweeping statements there, but I'm not going to, there's
Well,
so much I'm not even sure I can unpick some of the things we're talking about here. And we're in a week
but
where,
that's part of the broken world, isn't it? That's the
well,
broken world today.
we are in a week where they've just released millions of documents from the Epstein files, and that was all about power, money, greed, and the abuse of young women for
Yeah.
older, powerful men. And it's been that way for centuries and centuries. And I'm kind of taking a bit of a feminist stance here, really, to kind of bring a bit of balance to this conversation. Um, but women
What
have been
stance? What
women.
stance is that?
Sorry.
What feminist stances are you taking?
Well, let me talk, and I will give it to you.
All right.
um, Women have been sold off and used for a long time, thousands and thousands of years,
Yeah.
because they are the holders of seed and creation for lineage. And so, like, I do think that that's not about, if you go back in history, I don't think that is about women, John, willingly kind of opening their legs for power and a good lifestyle. I think a lot of that would have been forced by the patriarchy, i.e., men in the world using that power. And we've forgotten that the creation of a baby and that sexual energy is probably some of the most precious energies on planet Earth. And do you know that the kind of the chances of you being you and you being born as you is like 400 billion to one, something like that, that you've been made. And we've been disregarding that powerful thing and that powerful union between man and woman, bringing wholeness together for way too long. And yeah, and I think the feminist movement has been trying to address that abuse and that imbalance of power, personally.
But they've
There's
not
supposed
achieved.
to be an imbalance of power. Like the roles are just different. And to be honest, I do think that was a totally separate issue that you just brought up there, Tim. I don't like. I think John was more talking about the dynamics, like in a relationship standpoint. Like that's feels
Yeah,
a
I
bit bigger.
know,
But
and I was bringing it back because history produces evolution and the way that we've found ourselves where we are now in this so-called broken world. Personally, I think we'll get through it and we'll restart again sooner than we think. I've got hope and faith that that's going to happen. But I
What, in
think
your
we've lost
lifetime?
our way and we've lost our connection to ourselves and what, love and sex and healthy relationships.
I hate to be the bringer of bad tidings, but I don't think we will anytime soon. Not in my lifetime. I think it's going to get far worse before it gets any better.
hasn't it
And
always been a bit broken though? Like if you
pardon?
look at, hasn't it always been a little bit broken?
Oh yeah,
Like
completely.
this feeling of like impending doom that people have. Like in my eyes, there's never been a better time to be alive. Less people are hungry than ever.
Yes.
There's we talk about war and all this, but that's always been a thing. Like
Yeah.
speaking about just because we live in a broken world doesn't mean there's actually anything
Well, you're
going
rather
wrong
fortunate.
almost.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly.
I think you're rather fortunate that you've had, if you were to ask somebody in Calcutta or I don't know, in the slums of India somewhere and say, what do you think of life today? Do you think that they would share? And I'm not sure they would share the same opinion as you. So
I'm not denying there's not awful things. I just think overall it's better than ever. Less people are suffering.
for you
Oh,
in the West, perhaps, yeah.
do you not think overall like there's always been horrendous things going on? There is today, there will be tomorrow, and there will be
Well,
however
yeah,
long. Like this is.
I don't know.
I'm not.
If we take Africa for example, the birth, the mortality rate of the children is not as bad as it was. So you can put a green tick next to that. I don't know. I think that if you ask any parent now, I mean, a lot of people grandparents now are scared for their grandchildren.
Isn't
They're
what?
what life, what they're going to bring you, what children.
That's always been the way, though, because
Yeah,
every
like
generation thinks it's so great in theirs, and that
Yeah,
things are getting bad.
yeah. No,
you
but I
can't.
mean, that's true. That's true. And I mean, in our childhood, nuclear war was looming above our head. And now that we've got in Henry's generation, we've got AI. So there's not going to be, the idea of getting a career for life and doing this, that, and the other. That's a wish and a prayer. What they're going to do in 20, 30 years, God only knows. And God and my teenage daughter, and to think that she might grow up and have a child, what sort of life are they? What will they be bringing that into? Will it be any more broken than it is? Is it any more broken now than it was 50 years ago, or 2,000 years ago, or is it?
Oh,
It's
I
been,
don't think so.
no, I don't think so at all. And I think this is part of the whole thing. Like we're supposed to live in fear, from not like we're actually supposed to. I mean, this is what the powers that be want. They want us to be scared. They want us to be saying, "Oh well, should we be bringing children into this world?" Like I don't think it's
yeah.
any worse now than it always has been, and not because God's evil and hates us, because we're inherently like you said, we're self-destructive. We do a whole lot of awful things all the time, and I put a lot of it down to us. That doesn't mean that we're bad and we should like end the human race or anything. I just think it's just the way it is, and without the bad there's no
How do you
good,
see
right?
love and sex in 10, 20 years? Do you think it will change?
Can I answer that? Because I see the evidence in my daughter and her boyfriend that
Mm.
nothing has really changed. In fact, I think the young people are making better and better choices. There might still be those that had bad childhoods that will make bad choices. Um, but in general, I see them doing less of the stuff that our generations might have been out of control doing. And, so by the way, I
But,
give it,
that's your daughter is a. But let's take your daughter out of the equation. If you look at the youth of today, do
yeah,
you honestly think that the youth of today are turning a curve
yes,
and they're
I do.
on the way up and
I
they're
do.
making better
I do.
decisions than the
Yes.
previous generation?
Yes, I do. And there is much evidence for that. And it's the reason why I've worked with young people since I was young myself, that because they are our future. And I
So,
think,
what evidence is there to support that then?
well, I mean, you can look at stuff like mental health challenges getting worse. You can look at things like social media and problems
So,
with
divorce is up, mental health is up. So, that's not an indication of take an upward curve. That's going down.
yeah, I'm saying you can find the evidence of things getting worse, but you can
Yeah, I
also,
think it's more prevalent, but it's getting worse than it is getting better, isn't it? What's
well,
getting better?
or you can also find the evidence of things getting better if you can get out of the way of your linear kind of like conditioned thinking.
What? What's getting better?
Um, in my mind, in my
No, no,
experience,
no, 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 no. Empirically, it's something that it's observable. What can you say is
I can
getting better?
I can only talk about my own experience. I can't tell you
Well,
about
I
research
can say
paper.
that things that are getting better in my generation,
Yeah.
we're we're consuming a
Technology.
lot less substances,
Yeah,
drinking less than any generation,
yeah,
smoking less.
yeah,
We're more faithful, and I think faith
yeah.
overall, people will
Faithful from
convince
what
us.
perspective? In relationships.
Well, faith in God. which I
Oh.
think is a positive for love overall, in my opinion. Some people think religion and faith leads to war. I just completely reject
Well,
that. I think I would be much more
if my
scared of an atheist with, than someone that believes and loves in God, personally.
if my faith is being single, then I'm being faithful as well, aren't I?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about faith in God then. Oh, yeah.
Well, God
No,
is in yourself, isn't it? Didn't he say that? God is in you.
Yeah, but that faith in self, that's ego. That's not something bigger than you. That's
I think
uh,
well, going back to our previous discussions about that inner feeling, that spirit that we speak of, I
mhm.
think that you could, I think that even John Lennon said it's inside you, isn't it?
Yeah,
That,
for sure.
yeah.
But like faith in
That's
like the Bible tells us that your heart is your biggest deceiver, and this is what I was saying about the battle between the flesh and the spirit. Like it wants a lot of bad things for us. It takes us the wrong way sometimes. Like in this world, we're constantly told, "Oh, believe in yourself, believe in your heart." The Bible tells you the opposite of that. It says it will lead you astray. And I've been led
so
astray
less drugs,
loads of times. Go on.
less drugs.
Yeah,
Christianity is in there's an upward curve in Christianity in this country, isn't there?
massively.
Recently,
Yeah, massively.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd say health and wellness. More people are in the gym than ever. More people are taking care of their health, eating well than ever.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's a few
And
at
then
least.
the idea of getting on the housing ladder, that's down. You know,
Yeah, there's more money being made than ever. I guess you could see that as a positive in one
really.
sense.
But
Yeah,
in this country, the UK, the income has been stagnant for 20 years.
yeah, there's more millionaires being made than ever. You could see that as a negative. You
But
could
the
see it as,
disparity between the rich and the poor is getting bigger, you could say.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, there's more people getting poor than there were. You could look.
Yeah.
I wouldn't agree on that. I wouldn't say that was an upward curve. I'd agree with you that the youth of today are a lot healthier than we were.
Yeah.
You know, not interested in smoking or drinking.
hmm I would say
Well,
that knowledge is much more accessible as well, you know. So we're getting
but isn't life better? Isn't is that a good thing? I mean, living in ignorance is quite a nice way to live, isn't it?
Well,
yeah,
they
but
say
it
there's
doesn't.
three levels to knowledge, don't they? You've got ignorance, then you've got cynicism, and then you've got wisdom. So depends how you look at it, I guess.
In my experience, young people are getting wiser, healthier, and stronger than we were. And that's and you've given all the evidence, Henry. Thank you very much for that, to kind of back that up, because that's what I
I
see in
think
young
that there are.
people.
I think that you've ticked a couple of boxes there, but I think that if you, not to be pessimistic, but if you could look at the you know um, you could look at the other side of the coin as well, just to be devil's advocate, and you could
100%.
weigh
Yeah,
it
yeah.
up. And if you were to weigh it up, I don't think that the positives outweigh the negatives.
That's when
Well,
our beliefs get in the way, don't they?
yeah,
So
I think that's just like seeing the world through your own lens almost. And I'm not just saying you, John, I'm saying anyone, like myself included. It's like everything's a pendulum, right? As things swing and life goes on, it goes the other way. And I think, like you said, if we're looking at the dynamics between men and women, which is arguably the most important thing, to be honest, that is definitely down. Like marriages, like you said, like you know, the dynamic between men and women is awful. We're using
Yeah.
each other for sex, like you said, talking about love, attachment, and sex. Like that's the topic. Obviously, it's in the worst place than ever, possibly in my eyes, because men are using women for pussy, women are using men for
Status and
status and clout, and yeah, it's in an awful state. So I can definitely agree with that.
so what we're gonna have to bring this to a close, boys, because I'm going to go and get my healthy, wise, in a loving relationship young person from the train station.
Awesome.
What would you want people to take from this conversation? What would you want people to reflect, listeners to reflect on through this?
I didn't do it for
Well,
that.
I would say that Jesus was the true reflection of what love is. He taught us what true love is, putting his life on the line for even those that turn against him, even when they were beating him. They literally beat him so bad that you could see bone, and he like they hung him on the cross, just the most imaginable, worst imaginable injustice, most painful, brutal death. And even to those people, he didn't say, "When I get to heaven, you'll see, you're going to hell." He dealt with them with love, and he said, "Forgive them, Father, for they not know what they do." So I think that is the true essence of what love is: unchanging, unconditional.
Forgiveness, forgiveness. I think that was where um, Jesus had his green tick for me. He forgave, and I
Mm.
think it's important. I think the Dalai Lama talks of compassion as well. So it's a bit ironic that the poor old Jesus, he was killed by his own. The King of the Jews he was killed by the Jews. They chose him over the to kill him rather than the other people as well, which is it's a bit of a shame, really. Well, with him being the Son of Christ, I was hoping that I don't know. That's another topic for
Yeah,
another.
for another day. But do you want to have a wrap up on this conversation from you, John? What would you want people to reflect on?
I didn't do it for the for. I do. I think inherently, we are living in a broken world, and love and sex and attachment is getting more and more distorted, and it's. I don't think we've lost our way, and I don't think we can shield our children from it. Unfortunately, they're going to be the product of their environment. We can say, okay, you can't have a mobile phone or this and that, and try. Parents can only do so much, and then they'll get to a teenager and they will rebel and go and be part of the world, and they will grow with their peers. And unfortunately, my view for the years to come, I don't see it getting any better. And I don't think, the world is now a village. I don't think you can go to Australia or New Zealand or wherever to escape and live a life where it is you raise a child and live a happy life. I think it's just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's rather pessimistic from my point of view. I don't see it getting any better.
Very nihilistic, I would say, John.
Yeah, I would definitely say very pessimistic, very nihilistic. I guess I would like listeners to reflect on the question of what would change if we stopped using relationships to kind of try and complete us, or for power, or for status, or for things that, and love and sex and attachments aren't problems to fix. I think they're portals into a deeper awareness for us to kind of work out how we should live. So yeah, this has been the chat about everything. Thanks for listening. Thanks, guys.